now they're looking at Jesus Christ. They're looking at George Washington. They're looking at Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Not as long as I'm here. As far as Democrats are concerned, I think they could care less whether or not it happens.
I'm not one of those people who's wedded to, a statue to somebody someplace is an important thing. I don't, again, if the community doesn't want the statue there, the statue shouldn't be there. I don't care that much about statues.
Shouldn't that be done by a commission or the city council, not a mob in the middle of the night throwing it into the harbor?
People will do what they do.
Unbelievable. Well, you knew it was inevitable with all the burning, the looting, taking down statues, rewriting history, fighting authorities, abolishing the police. You knew sooner or later they're coming after Jesus Christ himself. I want you to listen now to Shaun King. He's one of the primary movers, primary leaders of the Black Lives Matter, a Marxist organization, primary leaders of that organization. He just wrote this a couple of days ago about Jesus Christ. Yes, I think the statues of the white European they claim is Jesus should also come down. They are a form of white supremacy, always have been. In the Bible, when the family of Jesus wanted to hide and blend in, guess where they went? Egypt, not Denmark. Tear them down. Unbelievable. Tear down Jesus in the United States of America. But don't be surprised, Christians. Wake up, Christians. This is what's coming at your front door, not only of your churches and your schools, but inevitably, if these guys win, at your homes. And here's why. Black Lives Matter and all the ancillary organizations, the Antifa groups, all those groups, they're hardcore Marxist organizations. You got to get beyond being frightened by the term Marxist as not being something relevant today. When we here at the United West say Marxist, we mean Marxist in the fullest sense of the word. Listen to what Karl Marx, the founder of Marxism, said 150 years ago. Regarding religion, he said, religion is the sigh of the oppressed, the creature, the heart of a heartless world, and the soul of a soulless condition. And here's what he's famous for. He said, religion is the opium of the people, the opium of the people. And Marx went on to say in his voluminous works, the two most important elements of moving capitalism to communism through socialism is the absolute eradication of God in a culture. See, God stands between the human being worshiping God and the human being worshiping the state. So God has to go so the human can worship the state, and the system of capitalism necessarily has to go because capitalism gets in the way of a full-throated communism. These are the underlying philosophical, political beliefs of Black Lives Matter. But look, does anybody really believe that Black Lives Matter is a total communist organization with 150 years of communist failures throughout the world? 90 miles from the state of Florida, hundreds of millions of people devastated and destroyed by a Marxist, communist, socialist political philosophy. Does anybody hold to this anymore? You bet they do. And it's very, very serious. Listen to one of the founders of Black Lives Matter. There were 3 founders, 3 women founders. All right, now I want you to listen to an unbelievable piece of video featuring Patrisse Cullors, one of the founders of Black Lives Matter, and she references one of the other co-founders. There was 3 women. The other co-founder, Alicia Garza, and specifically, look, 150 years removed from Karl Marx, she specifically says, we, referring to the Black Lives Matter leaders, we are trained Marxists. Check this out.
Concerned or is concerned that that there's a lack of perhaps ideological direction in Black Lives Matter that would allow it to be to fizzle out. And as he said, how do you respond to those kinds of again loving criticisms?
I think that the criticism is helpful. I also think that it might I think of a lot of things. The first thing I think is that we actually do have an ideological frame. Myself and Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists, are trained Marxists, are trained Marxists. We are super versed on sort of ideological theories. We are super versed on sort of ideological theories.
Ideological theories? You want to know what kind of ideological theories Patrice is referring to? Now, this is Black Lives Matter that every organization in the world is pouring hundreds of millions of dollars to, which happens to be going to the Democrat Party. That's another video. But the ideological objectives that Patrice is referring to is right here. It's called the Communist Manifesto, a little tiny little book. This is the ideology that Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and all these other ancillary groups is based upon. And out of this philosophical position came this wonderful book too, written by Saul Alinsky, Rules for Radicals. And for you Christian leaders trying to figure out if you should get your folks out to vote on November 3rd, if you look right in here, Saul Alinsky dedicates this book to Lucifer, Satan himself, the greatest radical. This is the insanity we are in right now, ladies and gentlemen. And people of faith, people of conscience, and people who hold to the Constitution of the United States must take a stand and fight against these people. All right, so what's the bottom line? Look, we've got Christians and Jews under attack throughout the United States at increasing levels. We have the Marxists, the Antifa, all the radical crazies tearing down the history of this country. We have the communists trying to overthrow our capitalist system. We have the radicals dedicated to Lucifer trying to destroy the Jews and Christians. The bottom line is, and as frustrated as you may be, and I know there's many people so frustrated, you want to get out there and fight physically. That's not the solution right now. The solution takes place on November 3rd, 2020. The battle ought not be physical now. It ought to be at the ballot box on November 3rd, 2020. So religious leaders, both Jewish leaders, Christian leaders, mobilize your people to vote on November 3rd, 2020 to maintain the constitutional republic that has been so good. Perfect? No. So phenomenal compared to any other country in history for 244 years? Yes, and never be afraid to stand beside an imperfect country who has self-reflection and self-correction and moves in that direction and not destroy it, stand for it, stand for the flag, stand for the country, and stand for God who is at the foundation of this country, and make all of that happen on November 3rd, 2020. Critically important date in all of our lives.